Hey guys, this is Drea from Dreamy App Games, and I want to talk to you a little bit about an impulse buy that I made. Just before Christmas, I traveled out of town to the nearest Best Buy and decided to get myself a new microphone for my computer because my other microphone just kind of stopped working. I settled on the Blue Yeti. It's not really an expensive microphone, just a little bit over $100, but it was on sale and it's a pretty solid mic that is used by a lot of YouTubers. I'm actually recording on it right now. Now, the quality of my voice is probably because I have a terrible cold. So it's not the quality of the mic. It's actually the fact that I'm a little under the weather. Now, while I was there, my eye caught on to the Oculus. Now, I've played with virtual reality in the past. The first time I ever saw anything that had to do with virtual reality was at Universal Studios when I went on the Back to the Future ride. And of course, I went to the IMAX for an exploration of space. And I even tried those 3D goggles that you use. You put your smartphone in, and then you could use the Bluetooth on the smartphone to actually navigate. So when I saw the Oculus, I was intrigued because, I really do like that whole virtual reality thing. And the Oculus says that they can take it to the next level. Now, I've heard about them mostly from people posting videos of the game Beat Saber, and I thought, I'd really like to do it, but man, that's a pricey impulse buy. So I went to the car where my mom was waiting for me to go in, buy my mic, and then come out so she could go do her shopping. And I kind of told my mom, I saw this Oculus. This is what it is. This is what it does, but this is how much it costs. And my mom, who's usually the down-to-earth, rational, frugal one, said, if you want it, go for it. And I'm just like, you know what? If I got my mom's seal of approval, I'm going to do it. Now, I wanted the Rift S, but they were completely sold out. And they had one Quest left and a few Go's. Now, Quest is one step down from the Rift, but the Go is a couple steps down from there. So I went with the Quest. And of course, like I said, it was the last one they had in stock. So I figured, you know what? They still have a lot of the Go's left. They sold out of the Rift and they're almost completely sold out of the Quest. So that kind of tells me that maybe the Go is not where I'd want to be. So let's do a brief overview of all the different systems first. Now, the Rift S is the top of the line, best in virtual reality gaming that you can get through the Oculus systems. However, it's not a self-contained unit. You will need a compatible 64-bit Windows computer, and you would need Windows 10, of course. It also needs to have at minimum an Intel of an i3 6100 or AMD Ryzen 3 1200 FX 4350 or better. And I know I just threw a whole bunch of numbers at you, but basically you need an Intel i3 or an AMD Ryzen 3 1200 FX or better, and at least 8 gigabytes of RAM and a USB port, as well as a compatible mini display port. These are minimum requirements. The better the computer, the better quality you're going to get from your Rift S. Most computers that meet the minimum requirements usually start at about $1,000. So while the Rift S does give you more bang for your buck, it's also the most expensive option considering the cost of the unit, which is about $400. Plus, you need a computer. If you don't have a computer that meets the minimum requirements, you will have to buy that computer. Now, Best Buy does have a package where you could get the Rift S and a computer for about $1,600 roughly. However, as I record this on the 5th of January in 2020, they are sold out. So you got to keep that in mind. And just like any other gaming system, games will cost extra. So yes, you are going to get more bang for your buck when it comes to graphics and playability on the Rift S. But just remember, you need that computer, which could be an extra cost if you don't have a computer that meets the minimum requirements. And games are also going to be extra, just like with any other system, like the Xbox or the PlayStation. So, that's kind of where you are if you want the Rift S. Now, I did want the Rift S because my computer is Rift ready. I have a 64-bit Windows 10 laptop with an Intel Core i7, everything. It's above minimum requirements. This is a little bit more into, the recommended requirements rather than the minimum requirements. So my computer would have been really good for the Rift, but they were completely sold out, and they're still sold out. I went and I looked online at bestbuy.com and they are still sold out. So I decided, well, since they have one Quest left and they told me, you know what, this is going to sell out pretty fast. So I grabbed it. Now, but let's look at the Go first, because I did say, you know what, I don't think I really want the Go. There's like 4 or 5 Goes left, which tell me that they're not selling as fast, which makes me think that maybe it's not as good of a system. So I did look it up. I never tried it, but I looked it up. It is the least expensive option at about $149. Now, this is a self-contained VR system, meaning that no computer is required, but it's got a few limitations. For one, it has a 3-point freedom system, which means that it's not all point freedom. So it doesn't recognize, like if you move side to side or up and down, that can cause lagging and uncomfortable motion to your eyes. The quality of the graphics are good, but not as high as the other systems. And the small controller is very limited as to what it can do. A lot of people will go and find compatible gaming controllers. You could usually go to Walmart and find a gaming controller that will work with it. But unfortunately, the one that it comes with is limited. So another issue, it seems that a lot of games that you can get for the Rift and the Quest are not compatible with the Go, but for the price, it still has a lot of good qualities, such as it's more immersive and user-friendly than the sets you can buy at Walmart where you put your smartphone inside to act as the screen. So it's an upgrade from that. So there you go. But like I said, I ended up going with the Quest. So let's talk a little bit about the Quest itself. The Quest, again, is self-contained, which means you don't need an expensive computer in order to get it to work. And the graphics are really high quality. Now, it is a downgrade from the Rift S. For example, in the Rift, while you're playing a game called Poker Stars VR, it's a game that I actually like to play. If you go to a poker room called the Saloon, because there's different poker rooms that you can go to, and the Saloon is one of them. It's an old-timey place, kind of like something right out of Deadwood. Sometimes you feel like Wild Bill Hickok or Calamity Jane can actually walk in the door at any time. It's kind of cool. But when you're playing it on the Rift S, you'll see an old-time piano with an Old West piano player, Old West call girls, and a cowboy bartender. And then the avatars for all of the players are more customizable. They move freer. When the person that you're playing with is talking, you can actually see the mouth of their avatar moving. Now, for the Quest, the room is really cool to sit in. Again, it has that realistic feel where you think that a cowboy could walk in at any time, but all the extras are not visible. Like you can hear the sound of the piano playing, the clanking of glasses, whispered voices, and claps after the piano is done, but you can't see those extra characters. And for the avatars for yourself and the other players, they're less animated. The mouths don't move when you talk. They wear sunglasses because for whatever reason on the Quest, your avatar doesn't have eyes, so you just wear sunglasses over that. And they're just less customizable options to choose from. But had I not seen what the graphics on the Rift S looked like, I probably wouldn't miss it, because the graphics are good enough that it just gives you that really virtual reality feel. And I do like the fact that it is self-contained and not reliant on a computer, so I can kind of take a small downgrade from graphics, and it is relatively small. Now, you can find this at Best Buy for about $400 for the 64 gig and $500 for the 120 gig. At the time of recording this, which again is the 5th of January 2020, again, they are sold out. It was a hot Christmas item this year. Like I said, I was uber lucky to even have gotten the Quest, since they only had one left and they were completely sold out of the Rift. And like I said, I don't think I would have been interested in the Go, just because if I'm getting a VR unit, I want the whole experience. So I was really lucky that they still had one Quest in stock. Now, The Quest has been really interesting so far. Now, let's start with the unit itself. It's actually quite comfortable. There are 3 points of adjustment. You can adjust on the top of your head for how far back or up you want your the set to sit on your face. And then, of course, on the sides to tighten it to a comfortable level. It takes some getting used to if you're not used to things on your face. You know, I wear glasses all the time, so I'm kind of used to that feeling of something on my face. But a lot of people, at first, it takes some getting used to just feel the pressure on your face from the mask. But once you get used to it, you don't even notice it after a while because it really does fit really well. And the padding keeps it comfortable on your face so that you don't get those pressure points and you know, it doesn't start to hurt, you know, where it's sitting. So I do like that comfort wise. Also, I wear these big Kate Spade cattail glasses. They're really flashy, bling bling type frames, and they fit really well under the mask. With the old sets that you can buy from Walmart where you put your cell phone in them and then your cell phone acts as the screen, well, they never seem to fit right. And the plastic kind of hurt around the face, especially on the bridge of the nose after a while, especially with the weight of the smartphone inside, weighing them down and pressing down on your nose harder. So I never seemed to be able to get my glasses to fit under the mask as well. So I would have to go without glasses, which made the vision a little bit blurry. So it was never as comfortable. So this definitely would have to be a top mark for comfort wise. It's definitely a big upgrade from those cheap masks that you can buy at Walmart for your cell phones. This is definitely made for comfort since it is made for long-term gaming. So I do like that. Graphics wise, like I said, it's really cool. Now, when you start, I would limit the amount of time you use the set. The movements can take some getting used to, and it can cause queasiness if you're not used to it. And then sometimes you really get enveloped into the game that you forget some things are actually not real. Like there was a time I actually put my hand down and I expected it to stop because I was putting it down on a table in front of me, and I forgot the table's just virtual reality. It's not really there, and your mind really gets kind of tricked into it, you know, especially if you go full immersion. And by that I mean that you can use a feature that literally puts you completely into a virtual world. Now, there's a level you can choose called Comfort. And what that does is it puts a grid around, like you see the main screen, and then there's a grid on either side of you. And it kind of keeps your mind focused on the fact that, you know, you're not in a real world. And it also kind of reduces the amount of motion so that you don't get as queasy. So if you get queasy, pretty easy. You can use comfort mode and it'll reduce that. But if you go full immersion, then sometimes you can forget the world around you isn't real. And then, you know what? That's a good thing. If you want to get the full VR experience, you want that. But I am just warning you, especially if you get queasy easy, you got to take your time, limit how long you're on the game just until your brain gets kind of used to it. And then once you get kind of used to that motion, it'll be a lot harder to get you kind of queasy from all of it. So that's just my recommendation. Now, my one complaint is that the headset does get a bit overheated, and that can cause glitching and sometimes an all-out black screen. If you're playing games where you can sit, I recommend keeping a fan by your side so you can face it towards you to keep the system cool. But that's a minor complaint. Now, the controllers are just the right size, and they're very comfortable to hold, and they have enough buttons that you can pretty much do anything compared to the limited Oculus Go controllers, which are really small. And definitely make use of the adjustable wristband so that if you accidentally let go, it doesn't go flying. Now, game-wise, there are a lot of options, and I find them to be less expensive than the typical PlayStation or Xbox game. Now, I spent about $55 on Beat Sabers, The Exorcist Legion, and Dread Halls. Those are 3 games that I bought, and I bought them probably for about $55 altogether. Now, there's one popular game on the Xbox One called Red Dead Redemption 2. That single game alone is almost $50. So I was able to get 3 games for $55, whereas a lot of the games that you can get for like the PlayStation or the Xbox one game is about $50. So, you know, I do think that they have really great games, a lot of fun games, and they're reasonably priced. So I do like that. So and now if you're looking for the true VR experience, then I say the Oculus is definitely the way to go. Now the Go is the least expensive, and while there are limitations, it's still a decent place to start if you don't want to put a lot of money into it until you know you like it. The Rift S is the top of the line, but again, you will need a top of the line computer to go with it. The Quest sits right between. It's a slight downgrade from the Rift, but a lot higher than the Go. It's self-containing, so there's no computer needed. So it's a little pricier than the Go system, but not as expensive as the Rift S. So all in all, for an impulse buy, this was a pretty good choice. And pretty soon I'm going to be reviewing some of those games that come for the Quest, and I'm going to let you know which games are fun, which games are not, and especially if you got kids that want to play on your virtual reality, because I have nieces and nephews, and of course my nephew, the first thing he wanted to do was play Beat Saber. I will let you know if the games are appropriate for kids. Now this video, just putting this out there because of COPPA, these videos are not made for kids at all, because a lot of the things I'm going to be reviewing are not kid-friendly, but I do want to put it out there that it is made for parents who have kids maybe, or aunts or uncles who have these games, and maybe they're like nieces, nephews, or their kids want to play. I'm going to let them know if it's appropriate for those kids before the kids can get on and play them. And so this is not made for kids. And technically YouTube is not meant for kids under the age of 13 anyway. It says there in their terms of service that the only way a 13 or younger can be on is if they are given legal permission by their parent or guardian. So, you know, but I'm just letting you know that this is not kid-friendly content. This is more for the parents so that they could be aware of what games are out there that their kids may be playing, or what games that they want to play themselves. So this is more meant for adults. I just wanted to put that out there because of COPPA. I still don't know what's going to happen with COPPA, so I still don't know what's going to happen with this channel, but until I figure that out, I'm going to keep making videos. And yes, I am going to continue to also make videos about phone apps, you know, because I said, you know, I wanted to do something a little niche. A lot of people talk about the Xbox or talk about the PlayStations and things like that, and I said, well, you know, but everybody has an iPad or a Google Pad or a smartphone, and they download these little apps that they can play, like if they're sitting waiting at a doctor's office for a doctor's appointment, or if they're at work, you know, on break and they're kind of doodling on their phone. I said everybody's got those, but nobody really is reviewing them. So I want to get that niche and I want to start reviewing them. I'm still going to do that, but I'm also going to review virtual reality games, since that is the next generation of gaming. So keep an eye out for all of that. And happy 2020, guys. I know we are well into 2020 now. This is the 5th day of a new year. So have a very stellar new year. And actually, it's the start of a whole new decade. Make this the best decade ever. And in the words of the 12th Doctor from Doctor Who, laugh hard, run fast, and be kind. This is Drea from Dreamy App Games, and I'll see you again soon.